is an interactive show where high vibe souls come together to read energetic patterns through the evolution journey deck. Are you ready to expand into the cosmos and connect with your star family? Sit back, relax, and connect into the frequency of your highest potential with host Kathy Reed.
Hi, everybody. This is StarSeed Continuum, and we have our special guest on the line right now, Miss Riley.
Hello.
And I'm just gonna turn it over to her because I know this hour is going to be taken up with all the inquiring questions that you have for Riley.
Yeah, open to all types of questions, because I was working on preparing something, and kind of like in the middle of it, it was like, stop and open. Like, okay, because I love my PowerPoints. I love my, breakdowns and my structures. So this is going to be a little uncomfortable for me, but I'm super excited to lean into it. So my guidance was to simply open to whatever comes through here and now. So I'm open to you all for promptings, questions, whatever is here right now.
Yay. I was just thinking into it, Riley. I just wanted everybody to really know who you are as far as starseed astrology, because it's not like the rigid regular astrology. You totally go into a new direction with this, and I was just thinking we could start with that.
All right. Yeah. Let's start way up there.
Well, you've got a really, really up there group of people here, so.
Yeah, I love it. I love this. Okay. All right. So yeah, starseed astrology, or some even call it galactic astrology, takes the whole traditional practice of astrology and bumps it way up to a whole other dimensional or interdimensional, connecting, activating, specifically remembering. What it does is it takes this picture of tropical astrology, which is practiced from the perspective of Earth, and really just blasts it open to other galaxies and brings in more of the fullness of the varieties of the different aspects of you as they are expressing simultaneous to your current now. And it, in touching those other aspects and connecting with those experiences and pieces of knowledge and wisdom that are connected to your now, that whole process of connecting ultimately expands your now awareness to these other now awarenesses, and then ultimately integrates it into this total strength beam of alignment in which all of you is connecting with all of you and forming this sum whole in all the different expressions of that. It's quite a journey every time we sit down for a reading, because the tool, which is the chart, your chart in astrology, is one of the keys or one of the doorways that unlocks and allows to tap in at these levels to all these different aspects of self. And what I love most about it is it can get pretty thrilling and wacky and boundless, in which boundaries are kind of thrown out for a a bit while you're making those connections. So there is that wonderful kind of ambiguous void. Got to ask the conscious mind to step aside for a second while you're taking that journey of connecting to all of these different unbound aspects of yourself. I realize I'm veering off into another limb here, so we can bring it back into more of a focus or ground it if we have any questions specific about the process or information or accessing, because this goes to all different levels. Most recently, things that have been really coming in through a lot of the readings are interpretations or connections involving more of the quantum reality of the physical structure that we hold and the other non-physical, and that connecting. And of course, a lot of you who are practicing the different exercises and methods offered here are fully of an understanding of what that process involves, mainly making the unconscious conscious. And ultimately, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I've been talking about this whole time. And I can see all of you have been picking up on that with your nods. But yeah, it's been more exciting these days because this whole scientific, the language has been more of a scientific nature that's been coming through, which is a shift, especially for myself, because I do not consider myself a scientist. Newtonian physics has never made sense to me. Science courses in high school and college were just painful because the information was not landing. I wasn't connecting with it. But hey, bringing in quantum physics, that's easy as pie. It makes sense. It integrates so effortlessly. So that's been really exciting, and something of we could call it a clue, an omen, an indication, whatever word you want to use, of things that are coming in, landing, manifesting, avenues that are opening up, and we're gaining conscious access to that we weren't really able to before, simply in the states that we were holding, and that this brings this whole aspect of astrology to that other level of when you're examining astrology or just star configurations from a more macroscopic view. So that would be like a transit chart, or looking at the chart of a country or an event, something that's more expanded, that involves multiple frequencies of individuals. There are a lot of things being indicated right now showing that these shifts are occurring. It's like confirmation, and showing the nature of the shifting, of the unfolding, of which you can just almost like track the energy and perceive in like, you know, a statistical or data set kind of way, a more scientific way of perceiving the unfolding of the energy, therefore being able to communicate it to others who maybe are not tuned in or tapped into this aspect of reality and experience unfolding. And then you'll be able to connect, form a bridge with another who is not so Well, I want to be careful with the words I use with this because we want to, or I wish to stay away from any kind of judgment or, heavier energy. Um, just someone who's not as interested in this stuff yet, is not attracted to it. This is providing a bridge or an avenue to connect and support. That way they can get the information as well. And that is probably one of the most exciting aspects for me right now, because I love sharing all of this, but I know that it's got quite a history of uh, being poo-pooed by others who are unable to connect to it. But now we're seeing that there's a lot more openness to all of this. Okay, I'm bringing in a lot of these components, so maybe if we want to focus in.
Angel just asked, does this kind of astrology able to connect you to your star family?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There are a lot of different tools and sets of data that have been gathered and processed so as to more accurately define different aspects in the chart and their connections to different star systems, star family orientations. What we're finding, because this is a great question, from our human experiences, we have an experience of family that is some sort of guardian parental figure, children, and then an extension of other humans from different countries or just different communities, all coming together and creating this unit of experience. Yes, when we talk about star families, however, there's less of a fixed nature about it. And that has a lot to do with the history of this planet and the creation of the human being. There is such a treasure trove of galactic genetic information and expression contained within the body of a human being. This vehicle that we have is like the Ferrari or like it is a high-end, very elite operating organic biological system. And what makes it so incredible and valuable is its diversity of genetic material. Now, there are so many stories around how and why this is. In a nutshell, this is due to the apex of this realization of this galactic intention to integrate. That's the big name of the game here, is this whole integration process, and it's being realized through the genetic diversity held within human beings, particular to this planet, yes, because we are here and now. So that's what I'm going to reference, but this is happening in other places as well. This is about us anchoring in that reality of total integration of this interspecies mingling of all of these different polarities and expressions that are across the universes. and integrating it all into this high functioning, beautiful, creative expressing and working together and living ultimately in this harmonistic fashion or harmonistic expression. And that is the demonstration that we are all a part of. So when we say, is astrology connecting us to our star family? Yes. And then some. It's connecting us to all of our star families, because the truth is there's a multiplicity. Yes, there is something that we could call like a starting point, or like our seed point, where we first entered this galactic experience, dipped our toes in, and really got to know what it would be like to have physical experience. But that takes some adjustment and some integration in and of itself. So on our journey of doing that, we have shared many experiences in many different star systems and species and genetic functions before we came into this kind of kaleidoscope of a temple to function and to integrate all of those experiences in. And this is what a lot of people are referring to when they talk about the ascension process and journey. That's effectively what is happening. And when we talk about StarSeed, or galactic memories and connections, it's important to note that it's a vast group. It's a very expanded group. There are a lot more currently inhabiting this planet than maybe initially noted. What I'm getting at is I've noticed there is a tendency of using this this title as like a badge or a medal of specialness. And that is beautiful, and that is accurate and true. But I have also noticed an energy of being exclusive. And it's so much more expanded than that. It is so much more shared and connected than that. Wow, I usually don't really talk about that aspect. So thank you for landing that in, you guys.
What I'm feeling, Riley, is that as more of us are connecting to our starseed self, I feel that expansion. And I feel that as we are moving up into our ascension, we're meeting the galactics in a space where they are. As long as we're in the matrix, we see this galactics from the matrix. But as we are expanding up, they're changing form as we're changing form.
Yes. Yeah, we're all doing this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, spot on.
Does anybody have any questions for Riley? Because we're open. Okay, Gabriella.
Hi, Riley. I'm wondering, so as I'm sitting here, I'm feeling an expansion. Now I need to go back a little bit. So being in the abstract is part of, for many of us here, the connect and or another word, the unknown. And as you were speaking, I felt you were talking about the expansion of holding the consciousness of the galactic, but way beyond that. And it's so big, I haven't really got words. So the depth of the consciousness that you're holding is really cool. I just, in simple human terms. But it's like, it's palpable, but it's way, way, way big on a level different again that a few of us have been working, and I love the frequency of it. And so I'm here obviously for a reason, and I suppose as we tap it or have an opportunity to sit with you holding this consciousness of, I'm calling it no space and time and beyond, I would love to hear you perhaps talk a little bit how in everyday life we can integrate this level of consciousness in just simply in everyday life.
Yes. Oh man. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for this question, because this is, you so beautifully landed that plane, so to speak, because that is exactly where we are right now, is the unfolding of that process. And I quite literally mean unfolding, because it truly is as if we are taking layers off and pulling them down around us. From another perspective, it can look like a blossoming. The way I like to talk about this process, though, is like peeling back layers of an onion. There are oils in that onion that can cause physiological responses, such as crying, which is a beautiful healing activity. There is a tremendous amount of deprogramming happening right now, and it's been for quite some time. Recently, however, the intensity of that has been elevated. I mean, it's like someone turned the volume way up, probably because more of the collective is tuning into this and actively participating in this deprogramming process. And what I mean by deprogramming is these belief systems, little nuggets of sentences that are programmed into us in our human state, and recycled to create limitation of expression. And that is such a beautiful experience that we've all shared together. And now it is time to take it off. And part of that process is tapping into that unconscious level where these programs reside, communing and connecting with ourselves. I mean, that's the simplicity of it. And there's so many techniques and tools you can use to tap into yourself at that level. That That's another piece of the way you run energy, your uniqueness, the way in which you're tapping into yourself. That is one piece of this beautiful unfolding of the integrating of these new energies and frequencies that are simultaneously anchoring in or activating within. There's actually a lot going on all of the time now. I mean, it was before, but now there's more of an awareness. So during this process of this unfolding and the releasing and this building up and this spiraling of enhancement of programs about freedom, programs about creativity and creative expression, things that are more raw and connected to that alignment we were talking about earlier, anchoring in those memories that are now able to, as you release the programs, come up to the surface. This is another form of activation that a lot of us have had experiences of and refer to. When these come to the surface, this is that other element that you were asking about, this purpose, this detail of creating of new forms or new methods or modes of expression. It's the bringing in of the new culture going into ultimately or amounting to the paradigm shifting. Because once those old values and belief systems upon which structures today are based are released, there is this clearing that we see outside of ourselves because it's just a reflection of what's happening. The products of the work that has been done internally, expressing outwardly. And that's why we're seeing all of this unfolding on a more public scale, because it's a reflection of all of the tremendous efforts and accomplishments that have been realized by the collective in their individual unfoldings. It then is cleared away, and in that silence, in that void, in that unknown, is the pure creative flow through which these integrated memories and reconnections effortlessly are then able to express out. It's not necessarily a matter of, what form should I have this take? It's even more effortless than that. It sounds like a lot of work, and I acknowledge and appreciate that. But that's just another, that word work is wrapped up and tied into some of these old programs that we are running and releasing. My point is despite this whole narrative that I'm fleshing out, this is a beautiful, organic process that simply requires for us to pull forth the purpose of our intention of seeding here. It simply requires relaxation, a relaxing of our physical form, a relaxing of any kind of expectation or narrative construct of the mind, a relaxing and releasing through breathing processes. And then, even when we're looking at our natal birth charts or our own astrology, a simple relaxing into what we are seeing, whether we are consciously connecting to the information or not, there are many levels that are being connected whenever you look at and perceive your chart. Just a relaxing into and an allowing of whatever wishes to be expressed and activated is more than enough in this whole process of unfolding. You know, we kind of have it really easy in a way. Those are the only requirements. We like to get really excited about all of the tremendousness of some things, but at its core, it's so beautifully simple, and in response is then able to express in this beautiful complexity that is paradoxically simple.
Riley?
Yes.
What I'm seeing is you can take your information on your chart and apply it with the strengths. It's like it's not fixed. And so, say, for example, you have double zeros around your chart. You have 8 of them or 9 of them. And you can take that information and really soar with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a tool. It's a tool for
exactly.
Growth.
Exactly. And we can, if you wish, we can get even more technical with the physiological components that are involved in this receiving of information from the chart. Whether you recognize the symbols or not, there is this integration that occurs specifically between the 2 hemispheres of your brain when you are perceiving your chart. There's the left brain and the right brain, and each has their specialties that they work with. Viewing your chart is yet another act of integration. You're actively integrating because in that perceiving, you're engaging both hemispheres. There is the logical part that is perceiving the different squiggles and colors and shapes. And then there is the intuitive part, the feeling part that is picking up a lot of information that is just naturally expressing in the shapes and figures and colors, etc. There was another piece that just left. It may return. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, all right, well, we'll just release that one for a minute. Maybe it'll be back. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up, Kathy, because that is also a majorly important piece to focus on. In our previous experiences of different systems of working, there has been this, again, an energy of exclusivity in which a group has a specific type of language and culture and must be the go-between to assist with interpreting, which kind of creates a bit of a codependency, which is something we are shedding. We are moving away from that model. We are all capable of being our own astrologers, our own everything. There is something to be said about how it is helpful to have those part of society who specialize, who devote their lifetime to the deeper study of things, bringing knowledge and information to be shared with others, absolutely. But there is this very important component to be reminded of, that we are our own everything, because we are sovereign and so powerful. So getting back to your question, Gabriella, about the specificity or the integrating of these new energies to create that which we came to express. The paradoxical answer is we came to express everything, as is evidenced by the setup of the chart. It's a wheel, yes? And then there's a center wheel, almost like a donut in the chart. When you've got all these pieces of information around the wheel, all of these records of your experiences, your knowings, the way you have expressed energy, where you are on your evolutionary journey. And then you also have the center point of the chart, and that is the void space. That is the all. That is the truth of your everything. All with a capital A. Self with a capital S. It's all of it. So you're here to express all of it and to play with some other aspects in the chart that could be defined as specified intentions or intent to create, to have fun with, to play around with, to experience, because that's ultimately what we're here doing. We're having this really fun human experience. My, oh my. It's so beautiful and simple.
So I wanted to ask you, Riley, if you can just tell us where how they can reach you, if anybody's being inclined to do a session with you. Can you kind of explain what it may entail and your website?
Sure. So my website is www.spiralupastrology.com. And right now I am honed in on 3 offerings. One is looking at your natal birth chart, and that is a blueprint of what you came in with. It's how you run energy right now. It's got all your records in it. So what we do during that session is we connect and we express whatever wishes to be expressed at that time in that session. Because here's the wonder of astrology. When we say all of your information is contained in the chart, we mean all. I mean all the dimensions, all time space, everything outside of it, it's all in there. So what 1 hour is just put aside to view a piece of that, whatever wishes to express at that time. Then a second offering I have is a combination. This one is a 2-hour deal in which we're looking at your natal birth chart for the first hour. And then the second hour, we're looking at something called your progressed chart. That is a chart that is showing the subconscious mechanisms at work that are simultaneously unfolding in your personal evolutionary journey. It's like a snapshot of the current era or chapter of life that you are expressing. The third offering is one of my personal favorites. It's called a solar return reading. So every year, the sun returns to the exact position it was in when you were born. This is your power time. This is a supercharged up time in the year where you just get lit up. I mean, you are set on fire and you are in a very full expression of yourself. As a result, much like what happened with the natal birth chart when you took your first breath and imprints were made, energetic expressions, the same thing actually happens every year. And it gets transposed and added and combined to your original blueprint. And it unfolds for the year. So it's like a looking at your year ahead, the energies that you are going to be working with. It brings more of a focus because, like I said before, we're here expressing it all. We're doing it all organically. Sometimes that can sound like a lot of pressure. So this helps to really hone in on more of a focus, taking one bite at a time. What am I eating this year? And what's the progression of eating, basically? How am I tackling this plate this year?
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions for Riley? We've got a few more minutes before we have to end the call. So I'm opening it up to you. Anybody would like to ask anything or
Well, I just want to put in a thank you, and I want to say if any of the readers that are hearing the podcast later think about it, and I just want to say I've had solar readings with Riley and deeper dive readings with Riley, and I just highly recommend any listeners who may be listening to the podcast now to get in touch with the Spiral Up Astrology and Riley, and yeah, get a reading with her. I highly recommend.
Thank you, Luann.
Trish, do you have a question?
Not a question. Yeah, one simple question first. Sorry about the video; it's just wonky. But just in a few sentences, what's the difference between a progressed chart and a solar return?
A progressed chart takes a larger chunk of time and takes a look at a bigger picture unfolding of energies you're working with, as opposed to the solar return chart, which simply takes just the year, the next year. So from your current birthday to your next birthday. And we look at those energies unfolding.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to also say too, I had my all three, the galactic chart as well done with you last year. I don't know if you remember me, but we had about 6 months where we couldn't connect with one another. back and forth, and then finally. And that time that went in between our connecting, something crucial happened that I needed to know about galactically, and my chart was loaded galactically. So I appreciate that. So anybody who's thinking about having it done, it's really phenomenal. And the final product of me, you know, carefully listening to all three of the readings that I had, I would have to say my heart opened, and I appreciated me and myself, my function, my what I can offer, you know, as Trish to the planet. So it was really, it helped me in a great deal to shift who I am. Thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Trish.
You're welcome.
Erin, do you have something? Oh, sorry.
It's just a super quick question because, you know, okay, I'm a Taurus, right? And I have always found it super difficult to really figure out what the energy of being Taurus. I know I know you can look at it at many different levels. I was just wondering if you had just like a quick description of Taurus for me, because, you know, I've found that quite difficult to understand. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Okay, Taurus. You know, that's actually a beautifully timed question too, because currently the collective is connecting to the energy of Taurus, because you see the North Node is currently residing in Taurus and expressing. That is the direction that we are all heading and expanding. Taurus is an earth sign, and it is something that's called fixed. All that is a description of the way the energy expresses. So fixed signs express from a center point and reverberate outwards. In other words, they do not move. They stand and they sustain and they affect. It's a beautiful feminine form. And Taurus is a feminine sign. The earth quality of Taurus gives it characteristics of endurance, steadiness, which brings us into these themes that Taurus really dives into. It's about foundations, and it's about simplicity, connecting to the simplicities of life. It is about grounding in through the physical senses as well, connecting to the body and working with all the senses and connecting to physical reality. Now, taking it to another level, there is this manifestation of something called earth magic that can be realized in this energy of Taurus, in which not only is there a connection with the physical body, there is also a connection extended to the physical earth, which is often manifested in activities such as gardening, working with herbs and the natural elements of the earth, and really getting into, well, connecting with things like elementals and connecting to those extra dimensional experiences that are here. It's being able to perceive, taking it to another level in connection to that. Esoterically, Taurus is connected to the third eye region of the body here, the bull's eye, and the part on the back of the head, the brain stem. Fun little fact, that is actually the feminine component to the masculine component of the third eye. In astrology, whenever we say masculine and feminine, it's simply an indication of which way the energy is flowing. Feminine is it's flowing inward, it's being taken in. Masculine is it's flowing outward, it's being expressed and given out. So we project here with this buddy, the third eye, and we receive the information with this lovely lady back here.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, because like, oh my goodness, that you just did that so beautifully. So layered and so leveled. You know, when you look on the internet for an understanding of these signs, you get such a basic thing. So yeah, just honoring you, and the way you delivered that information was amazing. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for connecting us.
It looks like Kathy is frozen. Are you back, Kathy? Otherwise, if anyone else has a comment or a question.
Yeah, I'm having
She's here.
issues with my internet, so I can't bring anybody in. Gabriella, you take over.
Can you make me host too?
Can't bring anybody up, so.
Okay. Any other comments, any reflections, questions before we close? It's super special to have you here, Riley. It's like so expansive, your energy, your wisdom, the depth of what you bring into this call is a real privilege to experience, you know, not just as in information, but it resonates beyond the cellular level. And I really, really love that. It goes beyond within and beyond out. So really, really love that experience of having you on this call.
Thank you.
I'm back. I'm back. So, Riley, thank you so much. Would you be willing to come back again, maybe to our NEP platform a little bit later? We would love to have you not only on StarSeed, but in our NEP community, because I think that your information is very valid and it's exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love for as much as you are expressing of what I'm bringing in. Oh man, I'm feeling so much coming from this group. I mean, there are some.
Oh, I'm bleeping out again. So Gabrielle, do you want to wrap it up? And
you take it from here, Riley, if you have any closing remarks. And
well, first and foremost, thank you for this opportunity to connect with this incredibly high vibing group. As I was saying, I mean, my head is spinning right now. I love it. Yes, this is just, it's so, it's fulfilling to observe and witness what your community is doing, is practicing, is accomplishing. There is so much, goodness, just so much gratitude to you all, because the impact, the global, the solar, the intergalactic, the universal impact that it is having is something I swear is being recorded somewhere in some time and space and will be referenced when there are the new groups continuing to come. It's going to be like the new manual to help with operations. So my goodness, thank you all so, so much. This is such an honor. This is such an honor to connect. I really, really appreciate this experience. So thank you.
The honor is ours, I can tell you. Yeah. Kathy?
I'm back. And so with that, we will conclude StarSeed Continuum for this episode. And so everybody, thank you. I love you. It is done. It was just beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank
So
you.
with that, we're going to sign off.
Thank you for listening to StarSeed Continuum, where we connect you to your highest evolutionary pattern. To learn more ways to play with the Star family or to be a part of this live interactive show, visit activateevolution.com. Now go and live your highest potential.